Diary, and this is another video. Sorry for the audio, I think, or the background, don't mind me. But today we're going to be talking about the Villainess versus the Hourglass. This is going to be a review. Really happy about the last review I did. Thank you, but I also would appreciate if you guys like watched my art, what is it? I think it's called an art recap, art study recap. If you would check that out. It's only on 5 views. I think I will post it on TikTok to get it up, and I have like other art videos so coming up soon. So if you have any like suggestions, put them down. So I was kind of thinking about how I was going to kind of organize this video, because there's many ways I could have organized it on like chronological order, or like basically just my favorite things. So I think I'm gonna just we're just gonna jump around. We're just gonna keep it simple. So the Villainess versus the Hourglass is one of my favorite like isekai series. Like, yeah, like reincarnation series is one of my favorites. I think it really gave me like the love of like these kind of villainous stories. There's like other type series that also, but I feel like no one really hits the way Arya does, because I feel like the rest of the characters, if they're villainous, they're fake ones. They're like, oh well, I became a villainess, meaning they turned into one just because they ended up getting in the villainess's body instead of being a real villainess. And they're like nice people. Like, I'm sorry, I live by the idea that not every main character has to be a good person. And also being a good person doesn't necessarily mean that the character is a protagonist, or being a bad person make them actually the antagonist of the series. It's all down to perspective, so that's something to always note. So let's really talk about it. I have a lot to say. So this is also gonna be a spoiler video. So yeah, I think that's pretty obvious. Okay, let's talk about the revenge, y'all. Let's talk about the revenge. So I read the novel. I didn't read the end. The end of the novel is pretty much like her and Asher get married, which is like really cute. But like the revenges really haven't started in the manhwa. So the couple things that end up happening. Isis, Oscar's sister, she gets her head chopped off. And I have something to say about her dying, because that was Mayele dies, of course. What's her name? Emma, she gets her head chopped off. She's about to die in the manhwa soon, because you see how they were trying to poison Arya. I think that's what's happening. She has to take the fall, basically. It's really interesting because they always push how Emma and Mayele have this like really close relationship, and then she has to kind of make this choice. Well, is it me or her? And she ends up making the decision, or Emma making that decision, to just kind of write her off. And she that was the first kind of revenge thing that ended up happening. Cain also dies, thank God. He's a pervert. I feel like we need to acknowledge that he does anyone give like he gives you very lecherous vibes. Like I think in the first chapters he was like how Arya's mother, the Countess, is like she has the eyes of a prostitute. What does that mean? We will never know. And especially the way he looks at Arya, even though that's his sister, is mildly boggling. It's just like there's even a scene where Arya's like in the novel later, she's like she's slept at Asher's house, and then she went home and he like started screaming at her like, oh, why were you at his house? And everyone, and she did that, and she kind of played this like kind of act to kind of highlight to everyone, like the maids and all the staff, that he is weirdly obsessed with what she has going on. It's strange, especially because at that time her and Asher were they were already in a relationship. They were already engaged. So it's just like, you don't really have any reason to be acting like that. Please watch yourself. So that was interesting. There's another thing that, really funny thing that really gets me is that there's a scene that happens later on. Well, it's more in the middle. The Count, of course, he was, listen, out of the family members, I think he was the first one to get it. Mayele pushes him down the stairs, and he becomes disabled. I'm not gonna hold you. When I first read it, I thought he died. He turned into like a vegetable of sorts for a minute, for a little bit. He didn't die, which is unfortunate. But it was funny because like Arya goes into this kind of hatred spew about how, well, you loved Mayele so much, babied her so much, never gave me anything, never cared about me. But look, she pushed you down the stairs. You're disabled now. I mean, and also the Countess, I'm gonna have to, the Countess robs, basically scams him. City girl shit. She scammed him, robbed them, and took the house and all the money. And they sent him to a home. And he's like, I don't think, like, in the main story, I don't know if he comes, because I didn't read, like, the marriage part, because it's not necessary. Like, you kind of know what's going to happen when they marry. I didn't really read it, but, like, until that part, like, after he gets sent away, he gets sent off screen. Yo, and the funny thing, Kane is not shit at all, because when his dad got, like, disabled, he knew Mayele did it, and he was just kind of like, next question. Like, he just thing I want to know about the novel that's a little different from the manhwa is something that got me kind of upset. Was like, not upset, but like, I don't like the way that the original author, the one that created the actual story, handled the male leads. I love Asher, but like, the pacing of the novel is so atrocious, to the point where, like, even though you are trying to get to know Asher, you want to see more of him, it's like Arya's doing whatever she's doing, she's living life, then Asher is gone. And it's just like, you will see in the comments of everyone reading, like, where's Asher? Where did he go? We haven't seen him in chapters. And a thing that pissed me off is, I also don't like the way they handled Oscar. Yeah, it's gonna be better in the manhwa because you have visuals. When you're reading a novel, there's all those words, so it's like, it's longer. You know, pacing feels longer than when you see the visuals, and it goes by quicker because they have to go through detailing and all that good stuff. But Oscar just disappears like midway in the novel, and it's just like, after the whole arc, I forgot exactly what happened, but you know that arc. Well, it happened already. But it's like after that time when, excuse me, sorry. It's after that time where he decides, like, he kind of, well, at least Arya felt like he abandoned her. He abracadabras, and when she was like, yeah, I'm not gonna use him anymore because he's like useless. Not useless, but you know, he's a puss. We get like one more scene of like Isis going on oh, you need to stop liking that harlot, that whore, and she keeps going on a hatred spiel, of course. We like never see him again until like Arya and Asher are like engaged. And what I'm gonna tell you why that's weird. We do not see, for example, thing to note, spoiler, another spoiler, Mayele falls out of love with Oscar. She falls out of love with Oscar, and she starts loving, I forgot his name. When I edit, I'll put his name like somewhere, someone right there. But she falls in love with this other guy. He's a key character to the ending. Didn't really pay that much attention to it because I want to see it more so in drawing form. I think it will be more intense, and I still want to see what he looks like. But yeah, I kind of found it really interesting. We don't, like, she falls in love with this other guy, but he there's no time to really react to that because there's no way he would have known. But what really got me, when that whole thing, when, for example, she pushed her dad down the stairs and it was like this whole kind of thing, we never seen the reaction of it. When Mayele got arrested, his fiance, we never see his reaction. Not only that, what y'all have to understand is, not only did Mayele get arrested in the middle of the series, his sister got arrested. We see no reaction to that. Like, when it immediately happened, we see no reaction of like anything going on. When his fiance and his sister, jail, and his fiance's brother, jail. And mind you, I don't really feel like they ever dismiss the engagement, because, well, actually, I'm lying. Well, sort of, kind of. But yeah. But then after his sister, also, we barely got a reaction of Isis going, what was the point of building up Oscar and Isis's relationship, of being like really her being like the one always in his business and kind of harassing him, not harassing him, but kind of what is it, peer pressuring him to do things, and then having her die off, and like there's like no reaction, and his only reaction is like, well, he comes later, and basically he's like, oh my god, Arya, like, well, it's like this weird like dick measuring contest between Oscar and Asher, and obviously Asher was winning because like he knew about like what happened prior. Yeah, and he was jealous, and like but Oscar obviously was gonna win because he's a puss. But yeah, and he was just basically like, oh no, I would never do anything to harm like Arya, and it was just like, okay. Funny scene that really kills me is when when Mayele gets arrested, the conversation they have. Mayele has a conversation, no, well, scratch. Let's start with the conversation that they'll have. So basically, Arya comes to see Mayele when she gets arrested for basically a revolt and rebellion that they tried to pull, but they got trapped. And basically, Arya's like, oh, I'm gonna help you, I'm gonna save you. And Mayele goes on this whole thing like, no, I know you're trying to trick me, da 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 da. And like basically, and she's saying like she's also gonna help Cain. She gets Cain a lawyer. And prior, Isis was like, she's not gonna help you. And then Isis got triggered because there was actual evidence that Arya was helping them. And Arya was like, well, did you not like notice that I've never actually did anything to you? And if you think about it, in present time, she kind of played what Mayele played, meaning being kind of not doing things outright, but manipulating situations for them to react in ways that would cause them to like get in trouble. So, you know, playing your cards right. And she's like, then she starts to actually believe in Arya. And then this is when, like, you know how Mayele was basically the same way Isis treats Oscar is the same way she treats Mayele. I will say even worse because that's not her brother. Because she was like, oh, you think that bitch is gonna help you? But when Mayele finally felt confident, she was like, oh, I'm not dying. Me and my brother's not dying. You're dying. And when Isis got her head chopped off, she was just kind of like, Mayele was feeling herself. She low-key thought she was gonna die though. But she's bratty. She thought that she wasn't gonna die. Well, she didn't die. But what ended up happening, she got punishment. Like she became, like her title kind of got like stripped and all that. Like, and she had to clean it shit. Girl. But until that's for another time. It was really funny. It was really funny. And another funny thing between Isis and Mayele, a thing that happened, is when Isis and Mayele, well, when Isis finds out that Mayele fell in love with another person, she went off on her. She was like, what the fuck is wrong with you? You've been trying to cheat on my brother. I was just like, that's tough, man. Funny, another thing I want to talk about is the maids, Annie and Jessie. Am I the one that thought that Jessie was gonna be like a bitch? Because like it's like, why did they place Jessie though? And I'm gonna explain why I say that. Because like, remember the person who sent Jessie over there was Mayele, and she was like, oh, she does something wrong, please report it. But Jessie has never reported anything. And she was serious, because you remember we used to see her like Bubbles, and she used to be like, oh yeah, I'll make sure she's like doing good or whatever. But like Jessie has never like reported anything. What was the point of placing Jessie there? Jessie doesn't do anything. And I don't mean like she doesn't do anything, because she does do things for Arya, but she has never done anything in allegiance to Mayele for Mayele to place her. Do you know what I'm saying? What has Jessie ever reported? Nothing. And then let me talk about my bitch Annie. Annie has no respect for herself. I'm sorry. Annie will do anything for a check. I stand it, but like, but she did collect the bag. I'm gonna tell you, she really collected the bag because she got her position right. Well, she always wanted to be like a noble or like be higher in position. She's a commoner. She doesn't have a title. She's a higher class maid. Well, she's not even a maid anymore. She's a what is it? Play pal? Play pal? Play date? I don't know. But yeah, like she's like a person that like, she doesn't have to work. She can just eat and sit and eat and drink tea, you know, drink tea and all that. And then also she collected the man and she collected the bag. She got Baron she got him, and like they're definitely gonna get together. Like for sure. They get together. Like they're pretty much a couple by the time the end. So she did that. She finessed the bag. She did that. I'm gonna be really honest. I give her props. Sometimes gold digging and kissing ass does help. Words by Confucius. But I think, is this the last thing I want to talk about? Oh, I have two more things, I think. I always was really intrigued about like the Countess and like Arya's relationship, because I was like kind of really confused on how I was supposed to like characterize her, because like there's times where like I would be like, okay, is she a bad person? Is she a bad mother? Is she a good mother? I would say neither. She just kind of there, meaning she does obviously care about Arya, because there are some scenes where certain things happen and she's just kind of like, oh, one of those scenes is when the Count tries to marry her off to oh boy, I'll put his picture up. But yeah, she tries to marry her off, and she's of higher standing, even if she's well, she's not illegitimate. She's a stepchild of a prostitute. It doesn't really matter. She's still of higher class, and her mother was just like, no. She was like, no. My daughter's not marrying him. And I was just like, agreed. Because that was like really rude. Because at the end of the day, if it was Maelle, he wouldn't even try that. Disgusting. Another thing is she never stops her bag. When Arya wanted to do embroidery, she was just like, okay, good job. I mean, when also she's just like Arya, and she's very ambitious and kind of, I wouldn't really call her a gold digger, but like social climber. I don't know. She loves money, because when she's seen in I don't know, there's a word for this, materialistic. I think that's it. When Arya got gifts from Oscar, she was just like, did things go good? So, and there's a scene where she was like, Arya, like, let's get out of here. We can get better, a better life. So I definitely do think she does care about her. But I think the thing is that the Countess and Arya are exactly the same, where they're both trying to survive. I don't think that the Countess really has power to be like, to really show her power in the household. So she kind of just sits there and like lets Arya like do her. She won't stop her, but she's not gonna really go out her way to help, because she's also trying to solidify her position, because the reason why Arya is there in the first place is because of the Countess. I mean, if she gets kicked out, Arya's hitting the streets immediately. Immediately. She's on. So I think that they're just both trying to survive. And one thing I totally forgot about, did anyone forget that the person that, first of all, and they don't bring this up, another writing thing I find really atrocious, that Arya goes on this hatred spiel about like how Maelle has basically killed her, but like she even went on a kind of like, she even thought about the time when she like got she messed up Jesse, but like doesn't remember or comment that Maelle killed her mom. Like, cause she did. She poisoned her and she died. I reread recently for this video, and I was like, oh, she killed her mom. Wow. Well, even so, Maelle is just really classist. Like, for example, even before she knew Arya and the Countess, she was really rude. Like, I've read some of her bubbles and her inside thoughts, and she would be like how the Countess is a whore and she's a slut, and how Arya is lowly, and it's just like, before she met them, like when they first met, like before she even knew about them, like she used to like go off on them in her mind, of course, because she's fake. And it's just like, is this necessary? And one funny thing that I always like found interesting is like, why, I think the world building is a little interesting in a bad way. Why is Asher so important? Well, not why Asher is so important, but my thing is, for a series that is so hell-bent on Asher and what Asher, the crown prince, is doing, why is the king and the queen, if they exist, well, they do, why are they not there? Why they are not present in the series at all? I think they're mentioned, I think, but they're not mentioned enough for them to be notable or have lines that are notable. Does that make any sense? Where's his mother? Hello? Where's his father? Hello? Like, it's just like, does no one find this weird? Like, it just always kind of like confused me. I was just kind of thinking like, but why are they all attacking him? What's going on with the, you know, the actual reigning monarchs? Because obviously Asher is not running shit right now. So who's running stuff? Whatever. But yeah, I feel like that. I think that's it. I don't think I have any, like, do I have any more comments? I think the only thing I have to say is, before the video's done, I was like, I tried to like do a drawing. I was trying a new style. I like the concept. It was supposed to be like, it was gonna be like an AU of like Arya here, Miley here. Then it will be like one of the maids. Well, this maid was supposed to be based off of the maid who, well, Miley has sent as a spy, and also the girl that tried to poison her. And i.e. spoiler, she sends her away. But yeah, and then it was gonna be like Emma's too grown to be in like young folks' business. Like, she's so old for the things she be doing. Like, do y'all see how excited she gets when things happen to Arya? Like, bitch, you're like 50, please. So I'm in the background, and then I was gonna like do like really cool lighting, and then I got triggered. So I'm gonna post the work in progress. By the time I post this video, it should be on my Instagram. It's a work in progress that I'm not completing, but I will show y'all here. Y'all can level up on the gram. Look at my hands. What the fuck? Yeah, y'all can like it up on the gram. I think, yeah. I feel like the next things, like review things or like just little discussion videos I'll probably be talking about is about maybe like shows. So I probably will do stuff like Angels, Friends, and Wings Club. And yeah, I think that's about it. I don't really have, I don't think I have any much to say, because I feel like this series, other than Remarried Empress, I feel like it has more like interesting. I feel like this series is more straightforward. And the only thing I would say is that one thing you have to not forget, I think that's the last thing I have to say. The one thing that you cannot forget about this series, Arya's not a good person. And I feel like y'all need to recognize that Arya is not a good person at all. Arya is a bully. Arya's a bully. She's extremely manipulative. She's really rude, very disrespectful. She's a liar. She does a lot of things, regardless of what situation. It doesn't really matter, because y'all need to realize that I need y'all to realize this. Regardless if Miley was a bad person or not, she still would have did the same thing. Arya used to beat on Miley without knowing that she was a bad person. Say Miley was not a bad person, what happened now? You see what I'm saying? She used to bully her, beat on her, do things that annoy her all the time. And also, even if she was manipulated, she was pushed to try to kill Miley, she agreed to it. She wasn't forced. That means that she went out her way to kill Miley, thinking that she was a nice person just because she was jealous of her. Do you see what I'm saying? Love Arya, but you have to recognize that Arya's not a good person, and that's okay. I love characters that are terrible. I think terrible characters are interesting. Most people are not goody two shoes. They're more so on the gray side. Some darker gray than others. But yeah, I think that makes it really interesting that she didn't change as a person. She just became smarter, you know? That's all. Her personality is exactly the same. And that's why some people got mad at her during, I said it's almost the end of this video, I'm still talking, but a lot of people got mad when she was trying to use Oscar, because Arya never really changed. Arya in her past life used to use men and manipulate men all the time. That's the way she got one-ups, and that's the way how she behaved. And it was just like a kind of thing, well, it was a habit, at least. It was a habitual behavior that pushed her far, but it never really pushed her far enough, which she comments on, that later on they lost interest and they became more Mila because of her personality. Yeah, she just kind of leveled up. She didn't change at all. And that's why it was kind of hard for her to, that's why she was upset about Oscar. It was never because she was in love with him. It was because, like, it's not working. This usually works. This should have worked. I put so much effort into this. Why is this not working? It's hard to teach an old dog new tricks. Y'all need to remember, at this time, she has lived. When she died, she was about 20? 18, 20. She was about 18, 19, 20. And then by the time this age that she got upset, she has lived about, I'll say about 30 years. Or close enough to 30 years. So yeah, it's gonna be hard to teach a 30-year woman who's had this mindset all this time that all of a sudden it doesn't work and she's getting upset. She's never like just did things on her own, you know? That independent behavior has never been her. And you need to realize that's something that's also been developed in the home. And that she also preaches. Arya is a vixen of sorts. Vixen of swords, yes, vixen of swords, seductress. And it's a kind of a learned behavior, because if you realize that, for example, the countess, how the countess got up, she went from prostitute. Also, y'all need to notice, as a prostitute, she was a commoner, single mother, which is really hard in this kind of historical period. And that's how she got up. And notice she was able to jump. It's even hard to even jump to Baron. She jumped from commoner to countess. That is a huge fucking jump. Did you see? I want you to go to Manhwa and look at the clothes that her and Arya are wearing, and how Arya used to look as a kid versus after she got in the household. And notice what Arya also preaches to Annie about, like, seducing, like, it doesn't matter if you love him. It doesn't matter if he doesn't like you. Money. Like, basically, that's what she told her. Who cares? Who cares? He has money. You're upset. Just keep trying. You soon collect the bag. You don't even like him. You like him for his money. Just continue. You will get the bag. Y'all need to realize that is how she kind of, I wouldn't say that's how she sees men, but that's how she kind of interacts with men. Which is really interesting, why her relationship with Asher is very interesting, because she's very, she gets really flustered because she doesn't see Asher as someone to jump on or to use or to manipulate. And when you manipulate someone, you usually look down on them because you're using them. But that's not really the case with Asher. So I think that's what makes them a good couple, because they're equal. They're seen as equal between each other, and they both have things to supply each other. And it's not like a one-way street. And usually the one-way street is only directed towards Arya, meaning she's gaining something. So I think that's all I have to say pretty much, because my phone is about to die. But you guys, I'll see you in the next video. Follow my art Instagram, follow my TikTok. I just reached 3,000 followers. So I'm trying to get to about 100 subscribers. So I'll be seeing you in the next video. Bye. What I would do to take away this fear